Hey, good morning again, everyone. My name's John Nolan. For anyone who I haven't had the chance to meet before, I'm on the play-by-play broadcast on ESPN Plus for the Mastodon, so it's always an honor and a privilege to narrate the action of the great Purdue Fort Wayne student athletes, and a privilege to be with you all here this morning as well. And on behalf of Mastodon Athletics and the entire university, thank you so much for joining us here for a special day for the Dons as we induct 6 individuals into the Athletics Hall of Fame. And before we celebrate Don's history, what a weekend it's been here as part of homecoming week here on campus. Friday night, the men's volleyball program taking down St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Following that up last night with a win against 8th-ranked Penn State. In between the women's basketball team, In between the women's basketball team yesterday afternoon, beating rival IUPUI, and coming up this afternoon, the men's basketball team has a Horizon League game against Youngstown State at 2 o'clock. And hopefully you're here to be in attendance for that one and root the Dons on to another win. In case not, self-promotion, you can watch on ESPN Plus, or today, we're also on the Marquee Sports Network on TV. But again, it's been a phenomenal run here for Purdue Fort Wayne Athletics. So one more time, let's hear it for the current Dons. And as a broadcaster, I'm certainly humbled to be in the greatness of so many phenomenal competitors, former student athletes and coaches and administrators. And not to mention, I love our setting here this year, right down the hall from the Hilliard Gate Sports Center, one of the all-time iconic broadcasters in the state of Indiana, and for that matter, the entire country. And if you haven't noticed before, just literally outside here in the hallway, behind the glass display, there's a great history, a tribute not only to Hilliard Gates, but all of the student athletes, coaches, administrators, all the hardware that they've racked up over the years, not to mention the plaques for the Hall of Fame members. But I think this is the only facility in the entire country that I know of that's actually named after a sports broadcaster. I actually went to Syracuse University in New York, which has produced the likes of Bob Costas and Mike Tirico, and I think all they can say for themselves is they've maybe got a classroom or a meeting room named after them, which probably puts me in line. If I'm lucky, fingers crossed, I might wind up with like a urinal cake with my initials on it, but we'll have to see. But seriously, it's awesome, the history that's on display right outside these doors, and if you haven't checked it out before, I'd certainly encourage you to do so here today. And the glass case will get just a little bit more crowded today, but consider this, even with today's induction class, there are still less than 80 members in the Mastodon Athletics Hall of Fame. It's really amazing. Only 1% or so of high school athletes make it to the Division I level. And frankly, I did get into broadcasting, so I wouldn't have to do math, so I'm not going to try to figure it out. But to be a part of the less than 1% that then winds up at a Hall of Fame level here at a Division I university is really just unbelievable. And one thing that makes the stories of all these student athletes, coaches, and administrators great is that they're all different. But I've heard it said that home is where the herd is. And so that's really true for our class here this year that's come from near and far, from big cities and farms, but all sharing in a common Dons experience. Now, before we introduce our inductees this year, I'd like to invite up the Dons Director of Athletics, someone who's putting together a Hall of Fame-worthy resume herself, Kelly Hartley Hutton.
Thank you, John, and we're just so incredibly grateful to have John back as our Master of Ceremonies this year. There are not many people we would trust with this event, but John, not only the voice of basketball for the Mastodons on our ESPN broadcasts, he does such a great job. We hear about it all the time. The Horizon League has stolen him, I think, for some championships. Isn't that right? Yeah, and just a testament of the work you do. So thanks, John. On behalf of Purdue University Fort Wayne, welcome to the Mastodon Hall of Fame induction ceremony 2024. We went to doing this every other year, so it is special indeed. First, a very warm welcome to our 6 inductees. On behalf of Mastodon Athletics, welcome home. Would you please stand? Frank, Shannon, Becca, Max, Tim, and where's Pepa? Please stand. All right, welcome home. Welcome back. And truly, thank you for being here. This group, we don't have a video this year, you guys. Not a video of them giving their induction speech, all live. And they traveled really far to get here. Pretty unique. Shannon by way of Sweden to Germany to Toronto to Fort Wayne. Do I have that right? With Kaya on your lap? Something like that. Incredible travel. Max came from California. Where's Max? California, right? And then leaving sunny Florida, we had Pepa and Frank came from Florida too, right? So traveled far. And then Becca, you had to cross the border today. Yeah, the Ohio border, right? Yeah. And Tim, of course, really never left. He keeps trying. We keep pulling him back into Mastodon Athletics. So thank you for all being here and letting us share this very special moment with you. I'd also like to welcome, Chancellor Elsenbaumer. I don't know where you ended up seated. There he is. Thank you, Chancellor, for being here. And Chief of Staff, Kim Grannon. Thank you for being here. Vice Chancellor, Glenn Nakata's here. Thank you for being here today, too. And the selection committee, would you please stand? Okay, you know who you are. Stand up. There we go. Some of them are here today anyway. Thank you for your work and our thoughtful discussions to get this year right in this outstanding class. Our chair of the committee, Derek Sloboda, Assistant AD for Media Services, provides us with tons of information on many alumni, and we sift through that prior, and thank you for getting us prepared when we get in that room for those conversations. Really appreciate it. Also here, part of the Hall of Fame is Arnie Ball. I was just talking to Arnie before we started today, and I think if I remember it right, my memory's not great, but I think it was about 2006, it was your idea to get this thing started. So thank you, Arnie, and for paving the way for us. Really appreciate that. Which leads me to welcome back to the Hall of Fame members. I think there are about 11 of you here today. Don't run off. At the end of the program, we will do a picture with all of you and our new inductees. But welcome back. And then we also have another special guest. Tommy and Lori Bell are over here. Tommy, would you please stand? Tommy was AD here right before me, so from like 2007 to 2013-ish, so I have that about right. So your time intersected with many of our inductees, and I saw you catching up with them last night. He had dinner. Tommy and Lori Bell have endowed the Bell Family Scholarship, and they had dinner with one of our athletes last night from men's basketball. So just thank you for all you continue to do for Mastodon Athletics. And then I want to introduce, lastly, our coaches. We have head coaches here today. And I always say it because it's true. Some of the most hardworking and caring individuals I know. So coaches, Maria Marquesano from women's basketball. Yes, great win yesterday. Maria's here. I saw women's soccer coach. Where is she? Where is he? Jason. Jason's here. Hi, Jason. Women's volleyball head coach, Steve Florio. Coaches in the back as usual, all right. And it's already been said, but Arnie Ball Court was rocking last night. Ryan Pratt, great win. Where are you? Head softball coach, Amber Bowman is here. And, did I always say Amber? No, where is she? Where's Amber? Yes, Amber, thank you. And then lastly, head coach, men's basketball, John Kaufman is here. Thank you for taking time out from your team today. They play at 2 o'clock down in the Gates Center. And after this event, if you need tickets, I have your tickets. So see me so that you can get your tickets and head down at 2 o'clock. We play Youngstown State. All right, well, let's have a great event. I can't wait to hear the speeches, and I'll give it back to the professional, John.
Thank you, Kelly. You know, in this rapidly changing landscape, of college athletics, we're here today to celebrate the fundamental mission of education and athletics as a vital part of this campus community. Our inductees today serve as a reminder to our current staff, coaches, student athletes, and even fans how the opportunity to use passion for athletics to achieve great things both in and outside of the arena remains the fundamental mission of what everyone is working towards. Right now, thanks to our media services team, let's meet the Mastodon Hall of Fame class of 2024.
This year's class features some of the most decorated individuals in school history. We welcome to the Mastodon Hall of Fame. Rebecca Ream was a 3-time All-League pick. She was the Summit League Tournament MVP in 2009 after guiding the Dons to the league title in their first Division I NCAA berth. She is 6th in program history and kills with 1,506.
Dons will reload. Back set, Ream drills it off the block with the serve. Dons, well, they go to Ream, and Ream puts it down.
Felipe Relat helped the Mastodons to a pair of NCAA tournament appearances. He ranks 3rd in program history in blocks with 514 and 8th in kills with 1,468. He was an All-MIVA first team pick in 1995.
Whoa! Another heater.
Student athlete, coach, and administrator, Tim Heffron has done it all for the Dons. As a coach, he earned a pair of GLVC championships, and as administrator, he oversaw financial operations for the Dons and was crucial to the Mastodons' transformation to Division I.
And a 6-foot junior from Shoreview, Minnesota, number 13, Tim Heffron.
Frank Gaines graduated as the program leader in career points with 1,841. In the 2011-2012 season, he averaged 21.2 points per game, 9th in the nation. He was a 2-time All-Summit League first team selection as well as earning an All-Summit League honorable mention nod. Max Toulouse earned 4 All-League nods, including a 2011 Summit League Offensive Player of the Year nod after recording 13 goals. He finished his 4-year Mastodon career as the Division I era program leader in goals with 32 and points with 78.
You can seriously talk about Max Toulouse, and you cannot hype him up enough. This kid is incredible.
Shannon Lynn graduated as the program leader in saves with 294. She earned 5 United Soccer Conference Defensive Player of the Week honors in 2006. She continued to an accomplished professional and international career.
The shot, and Lynn with the deflection.
Yeah, let's hear it, not only for our Hall of Famers, but also thanks to Derek, Aaron, and Corey leading the way on that video. All right, let's tip things off. Our first inductee came to Fort Wayne from Fort Lauderdale, and it may not be a coincidence that the Mastodons' first winning season at the Division I level in men's basketball came with him on the floor. He went from redshirting to, as you just heard, graduating as the program's all-time leader in points with more than 1,800. And along the way, he earned 3 All-Summit League honors. And now, for the last decade or so, he's helped pave the pipeline from the 260 to playing as a pro, from the NBA Summer League to winning and earning the NBA G League's Most Improved Player Award, to hooping around the world, literally Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Poland, Germany, Russia, Portugal, France, and Italy. And now with us here today, ladies and gentlemen, Mastodon Hall of Famer Frank Gaines.
Good morning, everyone. Make this quick. All right. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank God for waking me up this morning and helping me, giving me this ability. The reason why I'm here today. Also I'd like to, most of all, thank my parents for being here today and helping me through everything, through all this long journey. They know college was pretty tough for me off the court. So mainly they were. I appreciate them for everything they've done for me, and especially my dad, who's rarely missed a game in my 5 seasons here. He was instrumental into keeping me focused and making sure my head was on straight no matter what the situation was. So I thank him, and especially my mom as well, for a lot of motivation and prayer and just being my rock, totally. So I'd like to thank Dane Fife. He was probably the toughest coach I've ever had to deal with. Many occasions I wanted to fight him after practice, but he definitely helped me grow into the player I am today, for sure. So also I'd like to thank Dan Beret and Kevin Rudo. They're probably the coaches I spent the most time with, especially in my redshirt season with Kevin Rudo. A lot of weight room, a lot of talks, a lot of long walks in the cold from Canterbury Green. So I'd like to appreciate and thank him. I'd like to thank Kaufman, who's the current coach right now, and Jasic for, when I thought about leaving my 5th year, they kept my head on straight and gave me the confidence to stay and finish everything through. So and I'd like to thank Candace, who made sure I didn't starve myself the 5 years that I was here. And everything, and she's continuing to be a great friend for me to this day. And last, I'd like to thank Ms. Harley and the committee for considering me and the recognition. And thank you.
Congrats again, Frank. With some Hall of Fames, I know like for baseball and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, in the bylaws, they say that you have to be retired for 5 years in order to be eligible for induction. And so I think currently our compliance office is still reviewing the case here, but we're going to proceed nevertheless. Our next inductee has put together a Hall of Fame resume over the course of decades, not only as a student athlete, but also as a highly successful coach and an MVP in administration here with the Dons. And since we have a basketball game coming up at 2 o'clock and are short on time, we can't go through all the accolades, but they include 2-time GLVC Women's Volleyball Coach of the Year, and I'm glad that this time the honor has not apparently necessitated him to shave his head. But ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, Hall of Famer Tim Heffron.
Just means I have to use glasses now, is all it means. Around too long. I feel really fortunate. Obviously, one of the reasons I feel fortunate is I got to see all these people play their entire careers. Like, who else gets to do that? I mean, I still can't forget Max, like, going down in the tournament off kickoff, 6 seconds, he scores the goal, goes through the entire Oral Roberts team. Like, how does that happen? It's amazing. But I'm not, my wife says I'm not supposed to talk about other people. I'm supposed to talk about myself. Messed up already. But anyway, seriously, congratulations to all the other awardees here today. Well deserved. Thank you to Kelly and Ashley and the Hall of Fame committee for putting this on. The honor, the work they put into these kind of events. Obviously, I know what that entails. Thanks to my parents, they can't travel anymore, but they know about this, and we're sending them a recording of it so they get to see it. And they instilled, obviously, what I have and my brother have our entire lives. They introduced volleyball to us, and that's how we got here. Thank you to my brother who's here with me today, came from Minnesota. Actually, not many people know this, but if it wasn't for him, I would have not known about this institution. I would have had no clue. I would not be here. Thank you to my wife, Jean. Without her, I would not be the head coach here. That's another story that we may or may not have time for. And thank you to everybody else who came, Tommy and Lori and everybody else who came distances to support me. I really appreciate it. Some things about me that are true, I think are true, that I try to live my entire career by, and what I was trying to accomplish at all three different types of things as a player, coach, and administrator. For me, success means leaving what you were doing in a better place than where you found it. And if I did that, then I know it's a success. Overachieving was always a thing. Playing that, taking that underdog role on, doing more than what's expected of you, doing more with less. All of those kinds of things are what we do here at this institution. And I love to thrive on that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. Those that played for me, like Heather out there, know that I'm extremely competitive. I expect to win. When I don't, I take it personally, close to an unhealthy level, would you say, Heather? I'm not a patient person. I've really worked on that. On my exit interview with Arnie, after being a player, he said one thing to me, says, you need to learn to be patient. You need to learn to be patient. And I've really worked on that. It's still a struggle. Another thing is, if you ever take the Myers-Briggs test, as a 20-year-old here going to school, I scored a 0 on perception. And as a 50-year-old here taking it again, I scored 0 on perception. So that didn't change. So whether you like me or don't like me, I don't know. I have no idea. It's okay. I know my weaknesses. And another interesting fact was that when I was 14, I took a career aptitude test, and it came out with business manager. I'm like, okay. And little did I know how that would play out later in life. So the big question I get all the time is like, why did you come from Minnesota to Fort Wayne? And I said, that was the nearest Division I volleyball experience that you could play at. And again, thanks to my brother, he's the one who set it up. And we came here, took a recruiting visit, and we were meeting. We went through the whole thing. We met with Arnie in his office after we played with the team, took a tour, and all that stuff. And Arnie says, Why would you want to come here? Why would you do this? Why do you want to come here? Because I was employed full time. I'm 23 years old. Like, I got a full time gig. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. And he says, why would you do this? And I said, because I want your job. It's really simple. So I knew that this was the place that could further my coaching, which I really had gotten into volleyball, coaching wise, playing wise, and this was the next step. And I was hoping that it would work out. Ultimately did. I actually did major in psych here at the institution, but had a business minor as a backup in case the coaching thing didn't work out. And when we got here, I think we were 0-23 against Ball State. When we got here in '86, I think we beat Ohio State maybe twice as a program. And then when I was a senior, not only did we take care of them, but we won our first MIVA championship, which was kind of cool. And my brother and I were the only two that had survived the entire 4 years. I don't know what that says about us or about the people that didn't make it. But I did because, in volleyball you have to travel. There's not a lot of Midwest, there is now, but there wasn't then a lot of Midwest men's volleyball. So we traveled, and one thing I learned was living in the Midwest is really kind of nice. It is really not a bad thing. So then left, Went to St. Cloud State, got lucky there, got a good job, assistant coach, and then they called here. Nidra called and said, "Are you still interested in the job?" And I said, "Oh, bad timing, just ready to start next season. I'm at St. Cloud State, moved in with my future wife, everything's good, like bad timing." So I said, "I'm gonna pass." And she comes around the corner down the stairs and said, "Who's that?" And I said, "Well, that was IPFW asking if I was interested in the job here." And I told him, "No, it's not good for us." And she said, "Call him back." And so I did. Called him back, and the rest is history. Came in. I came in 3 days before preseason practice, in fact, August 10th. I know that the team struggled because I was very different than their previous coach, how I coached. My style was very different. The nice way to put it, I probably irritated them a lot. Would be the safe way. We started out 4-13, and we ended up 25-15, actually. And with 12 matches to go, I knew they were so irritated with me. I said, if you win out the rest of the season, we won't go to the tournament because there's no automatic bids in Division II at that time. But we'll win the conference, we'll win out. You can shave my head. So anger is the biggest motivator, right? So they're fired up. And before every match, I passed the clippers around. Every person had to touch the clippers. And they did. And literally, it was less than 5 seconds when that last point happened in the championship match, and they had grabbed me, grabbed a chair, put it out on the court, and they were shaving at it, and Heather was leading the charge. That's all I remember. And there is a video of that somewhere. I'm not sure where that is anymore, but it did make it on the 21 News. But anyway, the last 2 years of head coaching, I was fortunate enough to get the business manager duties along with head coaching. And so that was my starting into administration, which was kind of nice, and it worked out well. And then in '99, obviously, we decided as an institution to go Division I. And so at that time, with head coach, no full-time assistant, business manager, operations, financial aid officer, I had all these things. I'm like, this isn't going to work in the Division I world. And so they said, well, you choose what you want to do. Where do you want to go? And I gave up the coaching, hired Kelly, maybe my best hire ever, and then moved into administration and went that way. And it was ultimately a really good thing for me health-wise too, because later on I found it out it was really a good thing for me not to coach anymore. So as an administrator, we were moving Division II to Division I without being in a conference. So those of you who remember that was really difficult. Those were difficult 6 years until we got in the Summit League. Thankfully, we did get in, and it gave us a home, but the longer we were in, the more that conference moved west. The schools did not look like us, and thankfully, we got into the Horizon League. I was also fortunate enough to head up the field house section of this project with the walkway and Walb and that. I got to head up that for the athletic department. It was over $20 million. And a special thank you goes to Kelly after Tommy left. Kelly took the AD job and literally saved my life, I think, because I would have probably died of a heart attack, I'm convinced. So I really appreciate her taking the job. And so at the end of the day, I think I was pretty happy with how this all turned out. I was very fortunate to come here and be able to work in the industry that you chose. And not many people get to do that. And so thank you so much for everything. Appreciate it.
Congrats again, Tim, and look forward to your future induction into the Pickleball Hall of Fame someday, too. Our next Hall of Famer, as Kelly mentioned before, came to the Summit City from the Toronto area with Scottish roots. She graduated as the women's soccer program leader in saves and shutouts. Along the way, she was a 5-time United Soccer Conference Defensive Player of the Week award winner. After her days as a Don, overcoming significant adversity, she played internationally at the club level for Chelsea, as well as in Sweden and in Scotland, where she also capped for the national team and was part of squads that participated in the European Championship and even the World Cup. Just retired from playing in the last couple of years, she's now coaching in Sweden, and maybe her best title, besides Hall of Famer today, even greater than that, is being a mother as well. Please welcome Shannon Lynn.
Hi, everyone. I'll start off with saying I'm really nervous, and I think if I say that, it's going to take a little weight off the shoulders to express it. So first of all, I'd just like to thank PFW, which is odd to say because I always say IPFW in my head, but PFW for this honor, and I want to thank you all for being here today to celebrate this together. We've already been told a bit of my story, but I'll just tell you a bit of it again. I went away to university at the age of 17, but I started my journey at Kent State University. And for lack of time, I won't get into what happened there, but I ended up here. I was lucky enough to get an opportunity to come here and visit after my freshman year. My dad and I traveled here, and we met Terry and Harper, and I remember being really nervous, which is often for me. But they allowed me to be open and honest and tell them the whole truth. And I owe them a lot for that. They took a chance on me. And I hope you haven't regretted it since. IPFW became my second chance. And I learned that people are truly worthy of that. I remember my days here really fondly. Times on the road, winning games, and chats in the coach's office. But most importantly, I remember the people. But in those amazing times, I did have some of the hardest days of my life here. Losing my partner to meningitis in 2008 was a devastating time in my life. We met here in Fort Wayne, and I remember it being one of the best days of my life. Fort Wayne brought me so much joy and so much learning, a lot of uphill battles, but a lot of pain too. But through that darkness, it shaped me into the person I am today. And I learned a lot about myself here. And it's pretty crazy to think how long ago it was. My journey took me a lot of places in the world, and shortly after graduating here, I moved to Lafayette to play for a team called FC Indiana. One season later, I moved to Scotland, where my parents are from, to pursue a chance to play some more soccer with a slight possibility of getting into the national team. A few months after being there, I got invited to my first national team camp, and that led me on to an 11-year career in the Scotland women's national team. I was part of the first ever women's team in Scotland, football, soccer, to go to a European Championship and a World Cup. About 5 years after living in Scotland, I got an opportunity to play professional in Sweden. So I moved there and I went on to play for Vita Geico for 9 seasons. It was here I truly found myself. And I created a life that I could only have dreamt of. After retiring my playing career in 2022, I got a full-time coaching job, which is where I'm at now. I'm an advocate for mental health and about the work that we must continue to do to make this a priority. I want people to feel safe and to be able to speak up, ask for help, and for people to listen. I stand here today as a daughter, a wife, a sister, an aunt, a friend, and most recently, a mother to my beautiful daughter, Kaya. I'm here today because of the people I've been so lucky to have around me. The support they've given me, I can never thank them in words. Some of my beautiful family are here today, and some of my most best friends that I met here who have traveled the world to see me, and I can never express to them how much that has meant to me. And to my beautiful wife, who unfortunately couldn't be here today because she's juggling a full-time career as a professional soccer player and a full-time nurse. I'm honored to stand here in a room full of incredible people, everyone with their own special journey. And I want to take this time to congratulate all the other inductees on your amazing achievements. And I want to thank everyone for being here and supporting us, and everyone for listening. And remember, be open, be you, and listen. Thank you.
Congrats once more, Shannon, and thanks for sharing that powerful message with us. Now to move along to another Don from a distance. Our next honoree is originally from Puerto Rico, and while he was here, he helped the men's volleyball program to 2 Final Four appearances. He ranks 3rd in program history in blocks, 5th in points, and 8th in kills, among other categories. And I know while his brother has stayed here in Fort Wayne, he was wise enough to move down to the warm weather again in South Florida, and along with his family, back up here today as he's currently working in the pharmaceutical industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Felipe Pepa Relat.
Wow. All right. This is it. You know, Shannon, you did great. You did awesome. Yeah. First, I gotta say, it's been a while, but thank you to Purdue Fort Wayne University. Again, for me, it's IPFW. Kelly, doesn't surprise me that every time I come up here, I learn something, that this honor and the Hall of Fame has a mastermind, Coach Ball, always thinking ahead. I want to thank my teammates, coaches on the way, Dave Scripman, Mark Franke, where you at? Yeah, with his bow tie, and I'm surprised he didn't come with that big ass board I used to carry. Back in the days when there were no iPads and no internet, which I guess it's a little bit of a joke because when I see my picture, it's a black and white out of the 6. Was that old? I thought it was in the 90s, but Dennis Johnson and of course Arnie. But as I try to reflect on my journey, how I got here, well, I guess my dad recently reminded me with a post on Facebook, which that's what he uses and all people do, Facebook. Sorry, Arnie. I have to take my shots now, you know. My son calls me and I'm old, so. But I have to thank my family that's here, my wife, Coral, my daughter, Alondra, and my son that pointed out himself, Felipe. My brother, Amira, and my brother Jorge. But as I reflect, I guess in December of 1990, my roommate, I don't know if I have to thank him for this, but I guess I have to now, Norman Almodovar, Hall of Famer. He called my house because Coach was looking, hey, do you have another kid that might want to come up here? And Norman, I guess, told Coach, yeah, I got the perfect guy. He's from Ponce, skinny dude, jump out of the roof. I was like 6'3", 155. And my dad, it's Norman, that's Norman. And I remember looking up to Norman in high school because he had a beer already in high school. He was a man. I was a boy. I remember hanging up and I say, that's great. Where is Indiana? I'm from Ponce, Puerto Rico. It's sunny year-round, 89 degrees. Nonetheless, I remember coming in to visit. It was April of 1991. Everybody was wearing shorts. I had a coat and pants. And as I remember coming into the gym and practicing and seeing the intensity of Coach, how the players responded, how I felt like IPFW, we had a chip on our shoulder when we're coming in and they made fun of us because IPFW sounded like a energy company. That's what they called us. And then as soon as the other teams coming in, is Stanford, Penn State, UCLA, Ohio State. We don't care. And we didn't care how big your school was. We didn't care that we were a community school. We cared that we could pull with each other. And I remember in the team was Norman, Raul Papaleo, and I, 3 Puerto Ricans. I don't know what we were doing here, led by a 6'8" freak of nature, Lloyd Ball. And things that I learned while I was here, the other team doesn't care. We have to play hard, give it your all. Doesn't matter what you did last night. They don't care about the problems that you're having. You gotta go out there and play hard. One thing that definitely, as I reflect on that journey, matches that I remember the most, beating USC here for the first time, I was huge. Beating Penn State at Ball State, and then we got in a fight because of Norman's fault. Beating Stanford at home, beating Long Beach, just huge schools that we just, I think that's what I can take, and keep me honest, Felipe, if I'm going too long. That is not what you can accomplish while you're here, but it's when you're done that really shows your true nature as you join the professional world, now in the pharmaceutical industry. But before that, I played in Switzerland, played Brazil, played with the Puerto Rico national team. And I don't know what is it, but the success of the volleyball players after we leave here, because we fight so hard when where we're placed somewhere else, we still have that chip. So I remember my final year going back to Puerto Rico, getting the MVP. And then after that was Hector Soto, and then Jeff Pita, and most recently, Freddy Vargas. IPFW, PFW, alumni, we know how to cement ourselves in the world in men's volleyball. As professionals, hardworking. So I think I owe a lot to that phone call that Norman gave me in 1990. I owe a lot. And I say thank you. Thank you. Coach, thank you. My family, everything that I have started here. Thank you, appreciate it.
Congrats again, Pepa. And it's awesome to see. I know you continue to give back to the game, coaching, and still bringing that chip on your shoulder and the camaraderie with the program, and still playing from time to time, too. Well, staying on the court now, though in this case, someone who grew up less than an hour or so from here over in Ohio. Our next Hall of Famer was the 2009 Summit League Tournament MVP after helping the Mastodons women's volleyball team to their first Summit League title and trip to the NCAA Division I tournament. She's one of just 8 players in program history with more than 1,000 kills and more than 1,000 digs. And here today with her family, let's give it up for Becca Ream.
Well, that's tough to follow. I wrote mine down on paper and pencil with kid drawings on the back, so that's how professional I am. 1988. What a year for sports and IPFW history. Tim Heffron, who's inducted, was right in the middle of his impressive career, and I was born. I'm just yanking your chain. I want to say what an absolute honor it is to be here today, to join so many other amazing athletes and people in this Hall of Fame is an amazing experience. And thankful is something you'll hear me say over and over and again in this speech, because I definitely did not achieve this on my own. I want to start by thanking my family, many of which are here today. My parents and older siblings chauffeured me to countless open gyms, practices, games, tournaments, and wherever else I needed to be. I always had my own cheering section, and their support is always appreciated. My mom, having 7 kids, was always able to juggle all of our schedules. I don't know how she did it. I only aspire to be half the mom or woman she is, so thank you, Mom. They were always at all of my games, and I also want to thank them for cheering for me, but also humbling me. Being working hard and getting good grades and just being a good human being always trumped being a good volleyball player. They were my biggest cheerleaders and my harshest critics, and I think everyone needs people like that around them to keep them grounded. Growing up, we played countless hours of ball outside with, like I said, being one of 7. We could usually divvy up into some pretty good teams and play some sort of ball. My dad called everything we played fussball because usually after about 10 minutes of playing, we were cussing at each other or fighting, so that's usually how it ended. We were all very competitive, and we still are. One of our favorite things to do, we would play volleyball on our shed roof, and you had to graduate to the good side. Well, the good side was just grass, but the bad side was a concrete pad with a angle iron doorstop. So you're trying to play volleyball, hurdling that, trying not to lose a digit, and we all have 10 toes to this day, so we made it. But thanks for the lessons in toughness and resilience. Next, I want to thank all my coaches and teammates for everything both on and off the court. So my teammates became best friends and more like sisters. We've been in each other's weddings over the years, godmothers to each other's children, some of my teammates here today. And then given the chance, we would, reminisce and talk for hours. Coaches, I appreciate all the time that I have my high school coach here as well as my 2 college coaches. I appreciate all the time that you spent on me, helping me to improve and helping to shape me into the person that I am today. Coach Hartley and Steve, I know I wasn't the typical recruit, but they took a chance on me, and together we had some great successes. Coach Hartley would comment that I was mentally tough and hard to rattle. Well, I had a dairy farmer dad who was blessed with 6 farmhand daughters. So we milked cows, we baled hay, we ran the skid loader, we hauled manure. And just like the meme, are you familiar with the meme where some of you have never backed up your driveway and with your dad watching and it shows? Well, some of you have never backed up a shredder down your driveway with your dad standing there like this, throwing his hat on the ground and mumbling something. I guarantee it wasn't, "Nice try, honey," or "You'll get it next time." I have a ton of funny and amazing memories over the years, many of which I should never repeat or admit to doing. But although we got our good grades and were dominant on the court, we did our fair share of partying and run-ins, so everything in moderation, right? So I will share a couple memories over the years. My freshman year, my sister's like, "Why are you wearing that? You look like a flight attendant." Well, My freshman year was the first time I'd ever flown. I'm pretty sure I was the only person on our team who had not flown before. So as we're going onto the plane, I'm like, checking stuff out, and the captain must have saw that, and he's like, first time flying? I'm like, yeah. So he brought me in the cockpit. I got a rundown of how everything works, and he gave me my first pair of wings, which I pinned on my travel, outfit, and I still have. So then our sophomore year, we traveled to Brazil. That was for my first time flying to the first time out of the country. We had a couple Brazilians on our team, and Fabi, another Hall of Famer, she was our grad assistant. We got to tour, check all the sites out, visit their families, play some volleyball over there, run some clinics. Awesome experience. We had a little bit of plane trouble on the way, but we made it. Junior year, this is a funny one. So back to the hard to rattle thing. We had a home game against UMKC, and in their locker room before the game, they had drawn a picture of a Mastodon head with a very tight number 6 jersey on with very big boobs. Who was number 6 for the Mastodons? It was me. So our grad assistant, Fabi, tells me, she's like, shh, they drew a picture of you, blah, blah, blah. And Coach Harley didn't want me to know. She thought I would get, offended or upset. It was a very nice drawing. It was tastefully done. A little fire under us, and we won that game, so I wasn't mad about it. Our senior year, we played North Dakota State at North Dakota State. I think we had 5 fans there versus their 1,000. Steve's mom was one of them. We travel all the way out there, and we win in a 5-set match, very close, very competitive, and then that led us to our first NCAA berth, so that was awesome to be a part of that experience. I want to give a special shout out to everyone behind the scenes, the academic advisors, the administration, the fans, the supporters, the media. They did all the unseen work so that we could all be successful. Ron Clark, Chancellor Wartell, Chris Cousinar, just to name a few. There's many, many more, but just to name a few, they were special people in my time. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank God. I have been so blessed over the years with an amazing family and countless opportunities both on and off the court. Good, bad, and in between. I wouldn't change anything. I don't believe in regrets. So today I'm blessed with 2 beautiful children and my husband, Dallas. Stand up, Dallas. He insisted on wearing this shirt. I don't even know where he got it. Can you turn around? Show everybody. Just kidding. I made that for him, and I told him he had to wear it today. So he wears it with pride. I want to thank you all for being here. I am truly humbled and honored to join such an incredible group of individuals, many of which I'm lucky enough to know personally. So, as always, go Dons.
Bet you want to talk about tough to top. I'm not even going to try to have a one-liner or anything after that. That was great. Congrats. Our final inductee today is a native of Haiti. And while we talk about everyone here who's been inducted into the Hall of Fame being role models, I think he might be the only one who can also say he's a legit model, too, over the course of his time. But being recognized today after earning 4 Summit League honors during his career, including the prestigious 2011 Summit League Men's Soccer Offensive Player of the Year award. He holds the Division I era program record for goals with more than 30. And after his time as a Don, went on to play professionally both in the U.S. and abroad, and has even earned a call-up to Haiti's national team. Now working in the business world out in California, braving the colder weather here as well, please welcome Max Toulouse.
All right. How you guys doing today? Good. All right, so that's not the first thing I wanted to say for my speech, so I'll start over. Do you want it all if it's all mediocre? That's a question I ask myself all the time. I don't even know why I'm emotional. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of cool. My friend Mitch, please stand up. Mitch in the back. This was my roommate in college. a very good friend of mine. Kemler, please stand up. It's my brother. Luvio, please stand up. And then I have Franklin in the back. Frank, please stand up. You know, this is my brother group. Britt, I won't forget Britt. Britt is like the older brother that I have that you don't really like, but you really appreciate. That's Britt. All right, nerves are off a little bit. All right, got y'all to smile. We're doing good. Do you want it off? It's all mediocre. This is a question I asked myself, and it's a question I asked myself when I was younger. PFW means a lot to me because it gave me the opportunity to achieve a lot. Gave me the opportunity to become a man, to grow up. Harper is shaking his head. Harper, please stand up. Please stand up. This man right here is the reason all this happened. We had a lot of fights when I was here. We have the same birthday. He's a little bit older than me, but the same day. Same day. Bron Pfeiffer, please stand up, Bron. My other coach here, coached me when I was growing up also. I would also like everybody that's here for me today, my family and friends, could you all please stand up right now, please? It takes a village. It takes a village. And when I was younger, I was a little crazier. I knew I wanted to achieve something, but I didn't know how to do it. But I knew I was willing to put the work in, no matter what it took. I grew up, I'm from Haiti. I wasn't gonna bring that up in this speech, but he brought it up. I'm from Haiti. It was crazy because when I was in Haiti, when I got the call from Harper, under this big tree in front of our house, and I was under that same tree when Kelly called a couple months ago to tell me this. So it was a big God moment because God is in control of everything. What does it mean to be in the Hall of Fame? You know, for us, the gentleman said only 1% of people achieve a Division I career. And so to be here, Harper, Bron, those guys, when I was here, I fought a lot with them, but they were in the Hall of Fame. So I had to give them their respect. And for me, it was never something that I thought about achieving, but to be here, to be mentioned, same line as these guys, it's beautiful. Rebecca, talked to her last night. I looked up to her. She was a junior when I was a freshman. She was so dominant. Like, she killed it. And I was like, coming in as a freshman, I'm still small, but I was smaller, skinnier. Becca is a big person. So I looked up to her. I said that to her yesterday. She said, do you mean literally or figuratively? I said both. Frank, you know, we were here together. Tim, to be mentioned in the same category as all these people is beautiful, and I'm honored. And I want to thank everybody that allowed me to be here and chose me for this. I took some notes while Tim and the other people were talking. IPFW, number 1, tenacity. Number 2, doing more with less. Number 3, take the opportunity. Because this school, it is a small D1 school, but it's the opportunity to show yourself at the D1 level. Leave better than before. So when you go somewhere, to know if you are successful, you have to add on to what is there. And that is something that all those life lessons you learn here, because it's engraved within the culture. I'm not the first one or the second one to mention it tonight. So outlook on life, having that built into you is something that does a lot for you to take on life. The top of one mountain is the bottom of another. So when I played soccer, like I said, I modeled a little bit. The modeling was cool, I ain't gonna lie. It was pretty cool. But, you know, afterwards, I retired 4 years ago. How many of you in here are retired? Please raise your hand. It's a different life. And so for me, I retired about 5 years ago. And since then, I've taken the time to really learn about life, because before then, it was only soccer. Soccer 24/7. So I wanted to touch a little bit about what I've learned throughout the years from my career and from what I've done. Number 1, you have to have a clan. You have to have a family. Without everybody here, Bobby, coach, he owns the Plex right over here. Every day after high school, I went to high school at Concordia Lutheran. So I am from Haiti. I'm in the Hall of Fame now. So I moved here when I was 10 to Fort Wayne, and I grew up here. Went to St. Paul's downtown, Concordia High School right here, IPFW here. I'd like to thank you guys for making me a hood legend, because now in Fort Wayne I do have some respect because of this, and so I appreciate you and I thank you guys for allowing me to be here. Second thing, you have to live an active life, and that doesn't mean going to the gym. That means that every day in each activity that you do, try and be active. Your diet has to be good. You have to have a pretty good diet to help you age. And the last thing, you have to have purpose. You have to have purpose. For the people that I asked if you retired, because when you retire, to find purpose is kind of hard. I like the beach. Last year for 7 months, I was at the beach, and I loved it. But it got boring after a while, and you have to find something that drives you, something that makes you want to keep going. As a college athlete, I had a little bit of an inferiority complex because, yes, I'm good, but there's somebody out there that could be better than me. And being in the Hall of Fame, when I got the call a couple weeks ago, it was the first time that I felt successful, to be honest. Because before, it's just what you're supposed to do. You know, like, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to go D1. You're supposed to help your team. You know, if you want to be the star, you got to do star stuff, and that's part of it. So I never took time to appreciate the moments, and it was after I left, my relationship with Harper got a lot better. My relationship with Brian got a lot better, and with almost everybody in here, because when I was here, I was so driven. I was so engraved into, Candace, how you doing? I worked in the admissions office when I was here. I lived here, basically. I slept on campus, I think, 2 nights during the 4 years here. I was all in. I was all in, and I was about it. And IPFW gave me the opportunity to make a dream come true. And for you guys to put me in the Hall of Fame, it's a blessing. I want to thank you guys. The greatest thing I've learned from all my time, love is the answer for everything. Because what we do as athletes, if you don't have love for it, you hate it. Because you have gym hours, you have practice, you have bus rides, 4-hour days where you're sleeping 4 hours, 2 hours. It's not fun. But the love that you have for it, the passion, because passion is just love in action, you know. Love cures everything. Family members, sports, work, anything. Find love in what you do. Find love in your life. Find love in your passion, and find your purpose, because that's going to give you a fulfilling life. Outside of that, I just want to say thank you. I'm really grateful to be in front of you guys, to share this moment with you guys, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Beautiful message, Max. You can actually stay up here, and then we'll invite the other 5 inductees back up to the front of the room for a picture, and Max will utilize the modeling experience. So you have some tips on making sure everyone looks good, whether it'll go on Facebook for the older crowd or Instagram for the younger generation. But if all the inductees can come back up, thanks. And as they gather, let's hear it one more time for the Mastodon Athletics Hall of Fame class of 2024. And as Kelly mentioned earlier, it's so wonderful that we have previously inducted Hall of Fame members with us here today. So at this time, we'd like to introduce up front also Arnie Ball, Mark Franke, Norman Almodovar, Art Friedel, Dan Gebhardt, Mike Harper, Larry Lee, Rock Perrott, Braun Pfeiffer, and last but not least, Heather Teagarden.
I'll go in front of us.
All right, let's get the little people in front.
And finally, before we brunch, I just want to say, again, thanks to everyone who gave me the opportunity to be with all the legends in the room here today. And before we conclude, I invite Kelly back up.
Well, this is why. This is really, truly like my favorite event that we do. The remarks are incredible, seeing everybody take part in this and enjoy and reflect on their time here on our campus. It's just remarkable. And know this, inductees, we talk about you all the time. And Felipe, you're so right. Not just about the time that when you were here and what you did on the court of the field, or as an administrator or coach, but what you've done after you've left, because that's why they're here. For their education, of course, but to be just good human beings and go out in the world and make this world a better place. So thank you for setting that example. So next we have brunch. It's a buffet. We have time to socialize and celebrate a little bit before going down to the basketball game at 2 o'clock to watch our men's basketball team play Youngstown State. Thank you for being here, and go Dons.